Hi, my name is Cindy Hobbs and I am the owner of Ballarat Placentas. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about the difference between TCM and RAW method. There's been a lot of confusion about the two methods in this industry, and one of the questions that I get asked the most is what is the difference between the two? So I am here to explain to you what your choices are and how they work within your body. As you would have seen, there is two methods of encapsulation. One is called TCM and the other one is called RAW. Now, most people confuse these two as just being a simple choice between one that holds more nutrition over the other. This simply is not the case. TCM stands for traditional Chinese medicine. RAW doesn't necessarily mean that your placenta has been prepared in a raw form, cut up, frozen and stuck into pills. This is probably one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to the difference between TCM and the RAW method of encapsulation. First of all, let's talk about a fun fact when it comes to placenta encapsulation in traditional Chinese medicine. Originally, placenta encapsulation was not actually used for what it is known for today, which is postnatal recovery. Originally, placenta encapsulation was actually used by the man. It was believed in traditional Chinese medicine that the hormones in the placenta acted as a fantastic way to be able to boost the men's sex drive because it held all of the female hormones in the placenta. Some of you that have been researching placenta encapsulation will understand that there has been a great significance between different cultures on the symbolism and importance of the placenta and how it is honoured. So let's talk about a few of those right now. The placenta is such an amazing organ and it can give us so much. Some of these rituals and beliefs around the placenta run so deep that they were actually traditions of our ancestors. Not only was it believed, but it has also been proven by science that 2 hours after the birth of your baby, your placenta remains alive. This has been proven by science in a way of them being able to measure the reaction of the placenta when it is poked or prodded, meaning that the placenta takes at least 2 hours to die off. This is actually really important because when you think about delayed cord clamping, this all makes sense. The placenta can take up to 2 hours after birth to deliver all of the blood from the placenta back to the baby. All of this blood that is held within the placenta actually belongs to your baby in the first place. So it just makes sense to be able to allow that placenta to deliver all of the blood and the nutrition and iron back to the baby to give them a healthy, strong start when it comes to their brand new life. No matter what the culture is that is celebrating their placenta, one thing they all share in common: they like to keep the placenta close to home or close to baby. In some traditions, they would put the placenta on the roof and allow the birds to eat it. They felt as though that this was a great honor that they could not only offer the gods, but also it would enable them to be granted with great fortune and health for their child. In some cities, placing a placenta on top of your roof could have been a little bit difficult, and sometimes it was safer for them to bury that placenta underground. This was quite often done at the front doorstep of the residence, keeping that placenta close to the family, and was quite often done underneath the stairs of the porch, in a basement, or between two adjoining houses. It was believed to bring fertility to the couple that just had a baby. They believed this so much so that in some circumstances, when a mother was done producing her family, there wasn't much birth control back in those days, she would believe in this so much that she would actually go and dig up the placenta and relocate it as far away from the house as possible to end her fertility. Every part of the placenta has a meaning. Every part of the placenta can be consumed. And sometimes ancestors would sew a tiny piece of the umbilical cord into the clothing of their sons especially. Now that we've spoken about some of the fun facts about placenta, let's get into the medical stuff. So placenta encapsulation has been a great support to mothers who not only suffer postnatal depression, but really struggle with breastfeeding. Placenta encapsulation restores the body's natural iron levels to a point that synthetic medication like Ferrograd just cannot provide your body. Placenta encapsulation helps shrink your uterus back down to size, promoting healing, which makes it more comfortable for you postpartum recovery. It doesn't stop there though, it's got so many other amazing benefits. Hormonal balance. The placenta contains all of the amazing hormones that you had during pregnancy. Replacing these into your body will help you feel more stable after birth. And not only that, if you're breastfeeding your child, this will also be passed on to your baby. Placenta encapsulation isn't just limited to the use of being able to take it for yourself. It can be used also with your baby and really useful for those days where the baby just needs a little bit of settling. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. What is the difference between TCM and RAW? I'll explain that to you in full right now. In traditional Chinese medicine, in simple terms, they treat each illness on either a hot or a cold basis. How they would treat their patients highly depends on their state at the time. So if you are running hot, they will treat you with a cooling substance. If you are running cold, they will warm your body up. This is all about balance. They believe that bringing balance and harmony to the body is the best way for your body to recover under any circumstances. In traditional Chinese medicine, the TCM method is considered a warming supplement. The raw capsules are considered to be cooling. When a mother is pregnant, according to traditional Chinese medicine, the mother is running in what they class as a hot state. This is not only because the mother is growing a human being, how amazing is she, but her blood flow in her body has also increased. Some mothers will actually tell you that they feel like they're overheating, and this is quite common in pregnancy. This hot state that a mother experiences throughout her pregnancy lasts until day 3 after birth. You're probably wondering why this extends to day 3 after birth. Let me explain it to you. A mother 3 days after birth is still coming down from her hormone high, which she has been experiencing her whole pregnancy. She'll be feeling a little bit unstable. She's just given birth. She has lost a lot of blood, and her period is only now just subsiding down to what we class as a normal flow. Remember, up until day 3 after birth, the woman's body is still running hot. From day 3 after birth, the woman's body is thrusting to what they class as a cold state. This cold state lasts for 30 days after birth, and this is considered your TCM postnatal recovery period. You may be wondering why you are now thrust into a cold state. Let me explain. On day 3, huge hormonal shifts are happening within the body. You are starting to produce milk. Your blood flow is back down to normal, and most women experience what they class as 3-day baby blues. This is when the hormone levels that plummet within the body make the woman feel unstable, a little bit teary, and like she's losing her mind. In some cases, this state can actually contribute to postnatal depression, and this is something that we want to avoid at all costs. There's also a lot of healing that needs to go on. The uterus needs to be shrunk back down to size. The mother needs to replenish her iron. The mother needs to establish a very secure breastfeeding bond with her baby. And she needs some energy, which has been severely depleted throughout her pregnancy. So one way to treat that, given that she is now in a cold state, is to treat it with a warming supplement, which is where the TCM method comes in. My recommendations to my clients is that from day 3 after birth, you start the TCM pills. This is the first day of your cold period. I recommend that you follow through with these pills right up until day 30, from day 3 after birth. Now, don't panic if you don't have enough placenta pills to make your way through the 30-day cycle. This happens more often than not. But I believe that the human placenta really does give you back exactly what you need in perfect proportions. Now, there's a few exceptions to this rule of taking warming supplement, also known as TCM placenta pills, throughout your cooling period. Obviously, if your body starts to run hot during this period, then TCM pills will not be for you. If you end up with an infection, mastitis, or even a common cold, your body will now be running in a hot state. So you don't really want to be taking TCM pills, which is a warming supplement, and contributing to this state that your body is now in. Instead, if you feel comfortable stopping your TCM pills during this period, we suggest that you do that. A lot of women don't want to do that and prefer to switch over to the cooling supplement, which will support them while they're sick. Taking the TCM pills during a state when you are running hot won't necessarily make you sicker. It'll just prolong the recovery period. One of the other questions that I get asked quite a lot is, when am I exempt from having my placenta encapsulated? And do certain medications stop me from being able to do so? There are exceptions as to when I won't be able to encapsulate for you. And one of those is if you have a UTI during the time that you give birth to your baby. If the UTI is not present at the time that you give birth and you have now recovered from it, it is fine to go ahead and encapsulate your placenta. But if I encapsulate your placenta while you have a UTI, all I am doing is feeding you that infection back through the pills. Another reason why I wouldn't be able to encapsulate your placenta is if the placenta has been taken off to pathology. 9 times out of 10, once your placenta ends up in pathology, it goes into formaldehyde. This is very dangerous, and if I encapsulate this, I will kill you. We don't want that. When it comes to medication and placenta encapsulation, anything that you have had during your pregnancy is a safe, graded drug. If it's safe to take during pregnancy, it is safe to be inside your placenta. Please keep in mind that the amount that is now in your placenta is a very minuscule. This also goes for birthing drugs, such as gas and air and epidural. I hope that this video has been of some use to you and that it is making you feel a little bit more comfortable and informed when it comes to placenta encapsulation and the choices that you have for your body.